Do you ever wonder the best way to handle your scheduling with clients over the holidays, especially if you need to take time off? What's the best method to make sure that you get the rest that you need while offering the right amount of support to your clients? Today's episode, I'll share with you how I handle my holiday scheduling.
Hey, Christian therapist, are you craving a counseling career that aligns with your faith and actually supports your well being? Welcome to the Prosperous Christian Therapist Podcast. I'm Kimberly Van Hooser, Christian therapist, private practice owner, and business coach for mental health professionals like you. In this podcast, you'll get practical strategies and faith led guidance to help you build a thriving private practice, one that serves your clients well and makes an impact for the kingdom of God. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your notebook and join me for today's episode.
Welcome to the Prosperous Christian Therapist Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Van Hooser. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and the owner of a Christian counseling private practice in the state of Colorado. And I'm also a business coach for mental health professionals who are wanting to grow and develop their private practice that is rooted in the Lord. I'm going to take just a moment here to share about my limited time coaching offer that is ending in just a few weeks at the end of 2025. Right now, any one-on-one 60-minute coaching session with me, I'm offering at a rate of only $97. During this 1 hour video call, I'll help you take a look at your private practice and really identify what action steps you need to take forward in order to build the private practice of your dreams. After the call, you'll receive a recording of our session as well as a written account of those action steps. And then I will follow up with you 1 week later over email to check in on how you're doing with your goals and to see if you need any more support. Starting in January of 2026, I'll be doubling my one-on-one session rates. So if this is something that you've been considering, now is the time to act. I will go ahead and leave my Calendly link for scheduling sessions in the description below. This is an amazing offer. It's a very low risk, low cost investment. If you get one thing during our time together that helps you bring in one client, you have made more than your money back. So I'd really encourage you, if this is something that's been tugging at your heart for a while, to make sure that you don't wait and you book a call with me. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you in a private coaching session. And now let's get into the content of today's episode, which is all about how to handle your scheduling with clients around the holidays. I think as clinicians, it's really important to make sure we have a plan for how we're going to handle our scheduling around the holidays so that we don't burn out, so that we make sure we get to take the time off that we need, but we also leave our clients feeling supported. During my early years with private practice, I would often make myself pretty available during the holidays. I would offer sessions on 4th of July, I would offer sessions on Memorial Day, and then around Christmas and New Year's, I would feel this pressure to be available to clients, not on the actual day, but maybe a little bit too often. And it was hard for me to take time off. As I reflect back on why I made myself so available, there's really two main reasons that I can identify. The first one was a need for finances. I was single at the time and living in a very expensive city and basically was living paycheck to paycheck. So I felt this intense need to make as much money as quickly as possible so I could pay my bills on time. And there was definitely some validity in that. But also, I don't think it was the healthiest reason for why I kept my doors open during the holidays. And then the second reason was I really did care about my clients. I wanted them to have the support that they needed during what is often a very challenging season for a lot of people. The holidays can be really difficult for a lot of people, and I wanted to be doing my due diligence as a therapist to support my clients the way that they needed it. Oftentimes, what would end up happening when I would make myself available to my clients around the holidays is that when I would initially offer the sessions to people, maybe 1 or 2 weeks before the holiday, they would agree to book. But then as the holiday got closer, they'd end up having plans come up, so they would cancel. And it was always the clients in the middle of the day that would seem to cancel. So I'd still have to show up for an earlier morning appointment and then be available for my afternoon appointment. But I'd have this weird gap during the day. And I realized that I wanted to be able to support my clients who I thought really needed it during the holidays, that still many of them were canceling. So that tells me they probably didn't need the support at the level that I thought. And then my other reason for wanting to be available over the holidays was to make money. And I would end up making nowhere near as much money as I had hoped because I had so many cancellations. And I do want to speak to the financial concerns because I know that's still a concern that a lot of therapists hold today is a need for bringing in income. But it's important as therapists in private practice that we are considering this as we're building our practice, that we need to set aside finances to cover when we need to take time off. So, since we're in our own business, we don't have automatic PTO built into our salaries. That's something that we need to consider for ourselves. And I know that's not always possible. When I was starting out, like I said, was living paycheck to paycheck. So I really didn't feel like I had enough to be setting aside for PTO. But this does need to be worked into our business strategy and our financial sustainability of our practice to make sure that we are charging enough from our clients in order to also be setting aside time off for ourselves during the holidays. And then just to speak to my second reason for being available for my clients of really wanting to be able to be there to support them. I think it's so important as therapists to recognize that we do make a difference in our clients' lives, that we do have something valuable to offer, but we need to be careful not to idolize ourselves so much in a way in their own lives to feel like our clients will not be okay if they are to miss a session with us. And we really need to be working to support our clients to be able to go a week or two over the holidays without having a therapy session. And we can definitely do that. So I've learned a lot over the years, and I'm going to share with you now how I handle my scheduling around the holidays. So, first of all, I never work at the actual holiday, and that goes for things like 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. I just don't schedule clients those days anymore. Generally speaking, with my caseload, I only see clients about 3 days a week. So if there's a Monday holiday, I just don't schedule clients that day, and I'm still able to see my regular caseload within my remaining days of the week. For the more major holidays like Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving, I'll generally offer 1 day a week that I'm working. So for this year, I agreed to work the Monday before Thanksgiving. I'm working the Monday before Christmas and the Monday before New Year's. I also let clients know that I'm just working 1 day a week for the holidays, and that helps them kind of self-assess if they actually really do need and want the support. And it also gives them that permission to take a break from therapy for a week if they need to. And I think sometimes that's a good thing. Like sometimes our clients need that permission to not just show up because they feel like they have to or they're used to coming every single week, but to really assess, do I actually want to come in by my own volition? Do I need it? Or is it just something that's a regular routine? So that is how I handle my own scheduling around the holidays. Let's talk about what's going to help you determine what the best plan is for yourself. So, first, I want you to sit down and really think about if you want to work and when that would be if you do. If you want to take a whole week off or 2 weeks off, just go ahead and go for it. It is so important for us to take rest for ourselves and to make sure we also are making time in our lives for the things that we enjoy, like family events, versus just feeling like we are slaves to our clients. And as I mentioned for myself, I used to have that fear of finances that if I were to take time off, that I wouldn't have enough financially to cover my needs. And I think whenever I recognize that God is actually calling me to rest, then I can also trust that He will provide for me financially. So I want you to think about if you were not concerned about finances, would you take time off or would you be available to clients? And do your best to make a decision based on that because whenever we have fear involved, it usually clouds our judgment and maybe motivates us to make decisions that are not in the best interest of ourselves and therefore not in the best interest of our clients. If you do choose to work, but it's going to be limited availability, make sure that you're setting appropriate boundaries for yourself too, where you're not necessarily packing in 9 or 10 clients on that 1 day that you might be choosing to work. So when I offer 1 day a week, I usually will see a max of 5 clients in a day because if I have too many more than that, I start to feel the burnout and the drag, and I don't want to experience that anymore. So think about when you're going to be available to work and for how many hours. So if you are choosing to work limited availability over the holidays and you're not going to be able to see your entire caseload within that holiday week, start with just offering those time slots to your higher need clients. That way, the ones who are going to need the most support will have the option to get the support from you. And then you can just plan and let the other ones know, like, hey, like, I don't have room to see you this week because of the holidays. Let's plan on having you come back in when I'm back in the office. And you can work to have a plan to support them. And that is going to be part of your protocol as well too, is starting to check in with clients in advance as the holidays approach. And I think this is separate from just knowing when you're going to be taking time off, but we should, as clinicians, keep in mind that holidays often bring up a lot of challenges. Even if clients have really healthy families, which I think is generally not the case, there's just that added, a lot of times, a lot of added stress, a lot of added activities. And so clients can tend to burn out. And so I always like to open up that conversation with clients as the holidays are approaching to see how are they feeling about the holidays? What do they anticipate might be a challenge for them or a struggle? How are they going to get their needs met during the holiday season? What is it that they think they need in terms of support, even in terms of therapy? And we start to work together to create a plan where they feel supported outside of session during the holidays because they know that I am not available on Christmas Day. So, as you have those conversations with holidays approaching, that's also going to give you a picture as a clinician, like how many of your clients are actually really going to want or need a therapy session over the holidays. And that might shape and determine how often you make yourself available or to which clients you give the option to come in during your limited holiday availability. I have most often found in my private practice that generally speaking, my private practice clients are pretty high functioning where they're going to be okay if they take a week or two off of therapy. I have occasionally had that client that might need just a little bit more support where I am more concerned if they don't have any sort of contact with me over a holiday break. But then we talk about it. We talk about how they're going to reach out for support if they need it, what they might do if there's a delay in a response from me, who else they can reach out to, and what coping skills can they utilize. And we come to an agreed upon plan. If a client can't handle taking some time away from a therapy session, then that generally communicates that they need a higher level of care than possibly what you're offering in private practice. I think as clinicians, we need to give ourselves that permission to step away from a client and trust that they're going to be okay and able to utilize the skills that they've learned in therapy. So, coming back to your scheduling and your policies, I still hold the same cancellation policy for my holiday schedule as I do for regular schedule. I have a 48-hour cancellation policy, and I feel like that gives me enough time to plan when there's cancellations. But if you have a really big caseload and you're only offering some limited time slots, you might want to consider changing your cancellation policy just for that holiday week. Because otherwise, sometimes you get clients canceling, especially if you have a 24-hour cancellation policy, they might cancel the day before, and then you don't have time to get another client into that time slot that might have wanted it. So I would encourage you, if you think that might be an issue, to have a more strict cancellation policy around holiday scheduling. And you can even let your clients know that. I'm only working one day this week and I have limited spots. So I'm asking for that week that you give me 7 days notice if you end up having a change of plans. That will definitely make them consider how much do they really need it and can they really commit to coming in on that day. So it's going to reduce your number of no-shows. So I would encourage you to take some time and really think about when you're wanting to be available during the holidays. Give yourself that permission to take time off if you need it. And I know we're getting pretty close to the holidays already. I believe this podcast episode is posting on December 8th. So if you haven't already done so, start exploring with your clients how they're feeling about the upcoming holidays, what they might feel like they need in order to feel supported and empowered and independent without having some therapy sessions during this time. And I encourage you just to take some rest. Give yourself that permission to take a break, to pause, to stop thinking so much about your clients and maybe focus on some things that you enjoy and your hobbies and your families. Take time to reflect and ponder God's goodness and just the miracle of Him sending His Son to earth for us. Oh, it's such a beautiful time, and we can get so caught up in just the chaos and the busyness, which can be so fun, but then we can just pass by on what this beautiful holiday actually means. Thank you so much for taking time to listen today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, if you are wanting to snag a $97 coaching session, don't hesitate. Make sure you check my Calendly link and see what times I have available. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you sign up for my weekly newsletter. Every single week, I send out a newsletter that includes some faith led encouragement for Christian clinicians. It also includes any of my latest special coaching offers and a link for the latest podcast episode. I also have a free Facebook community called Start and Grow Your Private Practice as a Christian Therapist. This is a great avenue for networking with other clinicians, for sharing about who you are, for dropping any questions you might have that I can answer for you. I take time every single week to make sure I go respond to any questions that have been posted. And then one other thing you can do if you're loving this podcast, be sure to leave me a written review. That really helps boost my show's visibility so others can find it. I hope you're having a wonderful start to your week, and I look forward to having you with me again next time. If you found value in today's episode, would you leave a written review on Apple Podcasts? It helps other faith-led clinicians like you find the show. And don't forget to join my free Facebook community, Start and Grow Your Private Practice as a Christian Therapist, where you'll join other clinicians for encouragement, accountability, and free tips and support. See you there.